Hello, Patsy Waggoner here with Stamps to Die For. Today I'm excited to share with you a fun fold card featuring the Christmas quilt set, which is part of the Quilted Christmas suite in the holiday catalog. I'll be using the Quilted Christmas Stamp Set along with its coordinating quilt builder framelits and also the quilt top embossing folder. These are all featured in the 2017 holiday catalog. You can see over here the textured embossing folder. They're a little difficult to see in the catalog, so you kind of have to hunt out these folders because as you see here, it's just pictured kind of half off the catalog. This is all part of the suite. I'm also going to be using a little bit of the Quilted Christmas ribbon. And so let's get started, and also some of the quilted Christmas paper. It's an entire suite that is coordinated to go together. I'm going to be starting out with showing you how to make this really fun fold card. The fun fold card has been used as a graduation cap in the past, but I decided to use it to make just this fun fold Christmas card. So let's start with the base of our card. I find it easiest to use my paper cutter from Stampin Up that has the scoring and the cutting blade on it. This is going to take a little bit of measuring, so it's a little putsy, but you can always fast forward it if you already know how to do this. We're going to put the paper in here. The thing I love about the paper cutter is you can store both blades in here. You just have to remember which one is the cutter and which one is the scorer. I'm going to put it in at 5.5 inches over here, and I'm going to score. Now the only part of this is I do love our Simply Scored tool for making deep scoring marks. This one doesn't make quite as deep a mark, but it still actually folds pretty good. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to put my paper like this. You can barely see the scoring mark there, but I'm going to do some measuring to give us this fun fold. We're going to start at that score line, and we're going to measure down 2 1/8 inches. We're going to go over here and measure with a pencil mark. I'm making 2 1/8 inch. You want to use a pencil because you're going to want to erase this. So now I've put the 2 1/8 on the line, and I'm just going to make a little mark here. I'm going to go over here and make a little mark 2 1/8 inches up from the fold line, and then I'm going to, in the smaller section of this card, I'm going to measure over 2 1/8 inches here because we're going to be cutting that V. So now I'm going to get my paper cutter back, and we're going to be putting this in here diagonally. I'm going to be marking or putting the mark on this little groove in the paper cutter and this mark here, and we're going to make some we're going to make an X, a scored X. I'm going to flip it over, putting it in there, putting it in here, and you can do the same thing on your Simply Scored tool if you have that and not the paper cutter. And then I'm going to put this score mark on the line again, and we're going to line it up with that score mark there, or the little tick marks, and this time I'm going to go in and cut with my cutting blade. I'm going to flip it over, we're going to put that point there, our little tick mark here, and we're going to cut again. So now we have this pointed V shape. If you don't have a bone folder as part of your stamping tools, this is a small investment with a huge gain. I don't stamp without it. I crease all my folds using it. So here we're going to, you can see those folds aren't really deep, but they do actually fold pretty nicely. And the bone folder is what gives you a nice good crease. So you're going to fold on all these score marks like this, and then you're going to take where the center fold is and just pull it together. And this is where the bone folder really comes in handy. You want to score that down, and now we have our fun fold. So now we need to add a little embossing to that. So we're going to take our embossing folder, that quilt top that I showed you earlier. This is one of our super wide embossing folders, which is great for some projects. And I'm just sticking it in here. You can always tell the top of your folder, if you want it embossed, the Stampin' Up! Logo always shows. Just so a little tip. You're gonna put this between your plates like this, and then if you have the two-piece platform, or maybe you have the one that has the pages, you're gonna take off that platform. You're gonna put this on your platform and run it through your Big Shot. And when you're done, you'll have this fun little embossed edge like this. Now for our stamping, we're going to take a little piece of paper here, and I like to use our Stampin' Up! Foam pad, which is like a, let's see, what is it called? The terminology is losing me. Anyway, but this is a great piercing mat or stamping mat. It's just got a little bit of give, but it's pretty firm, but you get a really good stamped image with this. We're going to take this quilted pattern, stitched outline, and I'm inking it up with my Tuxedo Black Memento pad. Now I prefer to use the Memento pads on my photopolymer stamps. It's just a personal preference. I just like they're a little easier to clean up afterwards. And there we have our quilt block. Now we're going to want to stamp our quilt in the center, and you can see that anything pink or red or orange tends to stain your stamps, but it doesn't affect the quality of them. Now if you're a fussy stamper, you can use a little tool called a Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, and I'm going to just show you this. We're going to take our Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, and I always just keep this up in the right hand corner, then I know where it is. I usually take the letter of my block, this is an H, which is going to be at the bottom. You just want to remember which way your stamp is positioned. I put this little sheet in my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, and I follow this, oops, it slid just a little bit. Now I have my image stamped on my sheet, and I'm going to put my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, I'm going to line this up where I want it. You can see that this one doesn't match, so I'm going to go over to this one, and you can see that that matches. I'm going to stick my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig here, holding my paper in the same position up. It's little, so I might be just a little off, but I'm going to go in and show you how this works. There you go. And that helps you position your stamps. Now the next one, I'm a lazy stamper, so I just like to wing it and try to do it free-handed. And with these clear stamps, that isn't too hard. And I found even if it isn't perfect with this one, it's really not an issue. So I'm going to go in and grab my garden green, ink up my stamp. I'm going to go in and just stamp that, turn it a little bit, and stamp it again. There you go. You can see it's not perfect, but it still looks perfect when you get done, which is what I love. So now we need to cut this out for our card. And in order to do that, we're going to grab the coordinating framelit that matches that. I always get a little piece of magnetic sheeting to keep my dies on, and I store them right in the cool plastic container that Stampin' Up! Gives you. So this you're going to put like this. I have the magnetic platform, which is an add-on to your Big Shot. hard to live without once you've had it. You can listen to the little, as I put my thing here, you can see how it grabs and how it sticks. So I place my framelit where I want it, put my plate on top, and I'm going to run that through the Big Shot. And through the magic of video, we've pre-cut our little quilt top, and we're going to adhere that to the front of our card. Now you could use a dimensional, but I decided I was just going to go with some fast fuse, and I'm going to stick that right on my card front like this. Now I've taken some of that Christmas paper, and you can pick, maybe you want it a little more bold. There's a lot of patterns in that paper, and I'm just going to put this on here, some adhesive, and I'm going to adhere this to the bottom portion of our card. So we have our card like that now. Now I'm going to stamp our greeting, and we're going to be stamping using the sentiments right from the Quilted Christmas Stamp Set. Ink up my Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to stamp peace right on this little strip of paper, which you will be getting a PDF with all of the measurements, so you don't have to keep track of them here. And I'm going to stamp this up on top right there like that. So we have yourself a merry little Christmas. We're going to put this piece down here. So now we want to put a banner edge on this piece tag. So I've taken the triple banner punch, and I'm going to flip it over. Now this comes with 3 different sizes, and you can see my tag is smaller than the smallest 1 inch, but I can still use this punch for different size tags. I'm going to just slide it in, center it, and punch. Flip it over, slide it in, center it as good as I can, and punch. And there we have our little piece tag. And I want it just a little shorter, so I'm going to go in and repunch it. Just a little bit. Because I have this little ribbon, and I want to put this on our card. So we're going to stick that there. I'm going to just run a little tape fast fuse on that. And that's when this little silicone pad comes in handy, because my tape runner is a little wider than my ribbon, but it doesn't stick. That silicone pad is terrific for that. So now I'm going to place this right in the center down here below our fun fold. We're going to add a couple of dimensionals to our tag and put those on the front of our card. Like this. And there we have our fun fold card for today. I hope you enjoy the online class, and have a great day. Happy stamping!